again. You've caught me in the car today. Lovely. I actually wanted to come on right now because I've just been given some really sad news. We haven't directly been affected this time with domestic violence, DV, but we do know someone that has, and it can be a very traumatic time. The events can be traumatic, the whole police scenario can be traumatic. The fact that it was your father that did the deed with you, not sexual, I mean like domestic violence. It's really sad. And in Australia, I just wanted you guys to know that if you are affected by DV, there is a hotline. It's 1-800 domestic violence. So if you Google the DV hotline from Australia, it will come up the DV hotline. It's a 1-800 number. I'm sorry, I don't know it offhand, but I'll try and link it below. You can call them and they can give you some sort of emergency sleeping arrangements. The only downfall to this, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, is number one, you don't know who else is going to be in these places, so don't trust anyone. It's the last thing you do anyway if you're even in that situation, is trust, because it's a hard thing to earn back again. And number two, you could end up anywhere in your state. So for example, I was in Brisbane at the time and they were going to send me to Kingaroy, which is about 4 hours, 6 hours between that time frame from where I was located. It's always best to get your clothes or your belongings, or what you want at least, out of the house during the time that the police are holding the perpetrator. Otherwise, the police will make arrangements and go with you so you can collect the stuff you need. So if you are in a situation where you can't be at home, even if that other parent lives there, the one that wasn't the perpetrator, for example, I hope you guys are making sense of this, but I just want to let you guys know, in Australia, this is what we've experienced. You can then go to CentreLink once you've rang 1-800, the DV hotline. And CentreLink, you make an appointment with a social worker. She or he will then give you access to about $300 emergency funding. It's not much, but it's something to get you through time. They may also hook you up with some hotels in your area that either come at a very cheap cost. And these hotels aren't necessarily dives. They can be the Hilton, they can be any type of a big 5-star accommodation as well. But don't be fooled, because they're not dummies. They know when you aren't experienced. They, through the channels of DV Connect and through CentreLink, they know that you're in that real situation. Unless, of course, it's a ploy and it's all an act, but you can't fool CentreLink, let's put it that way, and you can't fool DV Connect. Going back to DV Connect, I just want to let you know that they do ask you to go to a certain location. In my case, it was a park, to ring before they gave me any address of the refuge. And I think this is to make sure that you're out of the house, you're safe, or you're out of that deadly environment, toxic environment. And they will give you the address of your local refuge, which you'll then go to. But when you're in this refuge, you cannot tell a soul where you are, not even afterwards. I haven't told anyone, and my kids haven't told anyone, the location of this refuge. And it's been many, many years since has passed, and nothing's been said to anyone, not even my best friends. You can't jeopardize the safety of other people who have been put in your same situation. So yeah, so number one, you can call the DV hotline, domestic violence hotline. Google it anywhere in Australia and it should come up. You've also got other other forms of assistance like Lifeline, salvos. And when you're in the refuge, the social workers in the refuge will actually help you go to these places. They'll also take you to places like church environments that actually have people like hairdressers, masseuses. They all donate their time to help you as a victim. And I know you don't like being called victims. You're not a victim, you're a survivor. I know this. But these places will actually help you just unwind a little bit, as much as you can, even if it is for just 20 minutes. I got a lovely haircut from a hairdresser and she styled my hair, and it would have cost over $100 to do this hairstyle, but she donated her time and her efforts and all the rest of it so that she could give parents, kids, a bit of a reprieve from the bad situation they've been in. So that's about the DV Connect, Domestic Violence Connect hotline and their services. There are many other services. One service that I do want to tell you about, if you are out of home and you technically have nowhere else to go, and this doesn't include a couch on your friend's house or anything like that, this means that your permanent residence is no longer your own. So if I'm couch hopping or doing that type of stuff, then that's still classified as not having a home address. So my train of thought I just lost, but I'm coming back to it now. Hang on a sec. As I was saying, oh shit, I hate it when that happens. That's why I try and talk fast so I don't forget about what I was going to say. Okay, so CentreLink will then give you a $300 little debit FPOS card for you to obviously buy whatever you need. That's what I was going to get at. With the Queensland Bond Board, and there would be other bond boards in each other state. You contact them and you tell them that due to domestic violence, you don't need a police report or anything like that. You just need to be unable to go back to your home environment because of danger. So as a result of that, they will then hook you up. You locate the rental property. They will tell you how much you can afford to pay rent each week. For us, it was around about $300, and 10 years ago, that was more than ample to find a home. We chose not to though. We went to family in a different state. But getting back to the Queensland Bond Board, they will give you 1 month's upfront for the bond. They pay that directly to the estate agent, so you don't have to deal with that. They will also pay for you 2 weeks rent. That's to get you going. So in total, 6 weeks. And all you have to pay back is around about $20, roughly, maybe a little bit more now, but it's definitely a figure that is like, wow, it's a wow figure, like $20 a week or a fortnight just to pay this loan back. Yes, it's a loan, but it's an important loan, and they make it so you won't be put into a situation where you can't afford to pay your rent and the bond board back. So they will certainly make sure that the repayments are more than ample to not leave you in a financial situation where you cannot afford to pay it back. I've even known some cases to be $5 a week. So it all depends on the finances that you have at the time, if you're working, if you're not working, and this is where CentreLink comes in handy as well, if you're not working or you don't make enough hours. So that's basically what I really wanted to get out. The fact that domestic violence in Australia at the moment is running rampant is a very, very sad thing. The government is highlighting the domestic violence throughout each state in Australia, and that's because it's there. It's no longer to be held in the closet. It's out in the open now. And they're finally saying that we can help you. They advertise the domestic violence hotline. They advertise a lot of shit that you as a person who have experienced this or gone through this situation aren't afraid to say something. So in other words, they're saying what you are afraid to say. And I think that's a very important thing because the government is realising that it's not just it's not just other types of issues that need to come out of the closet. This is a definite thing that needs to be spread amongst the public and amongst the world, basically, because it's a very sad thing that happens to people. And like I said, I'm not classing people as victims. I'm going to class them as survivors. I'm a survivor. My daughter's a survivor. My son is a survivor. He was a toddler at the time, and thank God he didn't realise what was going on. My daughter remembers it. Although it wasn't a very good experience to have in a refuge, there were some exciting times. Perhaps I can share some of those experiences with you in a different vlog, because this has gone on to 10 minutes. But that's what I mainly wanted to come on and say today, is that if you are going through, if you are experiencing, if you have experienced domestic violence, there are people out there who do care about you, who don't care that it should be kept in the closet. It's a bad thing, and you are a survivor. You will be a survivor, and you will get through it. You feel like shit right now, especially because in Australia, if the police get called out to a domestic violence situation and they deem that person who is the victim a possible, if there's possible further threats that can be put upon their life, they will not hesitate to try and get you to charge that person with assault or grievous bodily harm, whatever the case may be. But they will definitely put a AVO out on this person. It's called an apprehension violent order or something like that. But it's basically an order that stops that person from coming within 50 feet of you, within 300 feet of you. It was in my case, even like bigger periods of length. And if that person does approach you, you run, you hide, and you call 000. You don't just ring your local cop shop, you ring 000, and that's in Australia. I cannot stress enough that you are not alone in this situation. There are people out there that will help you, that will show you what life is truly about after you've been through such a horrid experience. This particular person has had a CT scan to see if any of her arteries in her neck, if there's any severe bruising enough to affect her breathing. There were bruises, so obviously the police took records of this with their cameras or their phones for the police report. Another thing I really think that you need to know is that you will be asked to go to court. You will be given a legal aid. You will be given that. It did take me a bit of time to actually get a solicitor through the legal aid service. However, if you need to go to court, the judge will consider that you don't have a solicitor yet or a legal aid representative, and they will reschedule the court hearing. It's always best that you go to the court, you look at this perpetrator in the eyes if you feel able to, and make sure that they are fully aware that what they've done is wrong, because they always believe that you are the one that made them do that to you. That's wrong. I'm sure by now, if this is your situation that you are in, that you realise that domestic violence has been going on for more than just this one event. It's been a year thing, it's been a month thing. It's generally not a situation that you find yourself in overnight. It's a thing that's been leading up to it. Drugs and alcohol can be the trigger for the perpetrator. That's what will make them do what they do. But in saying that, That's no excuse. They obviously have an issue with the drugs or the alcohol if this does trigger their behaviour. So they need help. Quite often it's men, and I'm so sorry out there, guys. I don't mean to sexualize or, you know, judge. I'm not judging, because not all men are like this. Women can be perpetrators. My mother, God rest your soul, my darling, used to bash my dad. So I was brought up in a domestic violent household. I was a perpetrator at one stage, as much as I don't like to admit it. I used to hit my children. I didn't beat them or bash them, but yes, I used to hit them. And I can remember one time I left a handprint on my poor son's buttock. That to me was a wake-up call, and that to me meant that I had to make changes with myself, no matter what. And for me, it wasn't alcohol. For me, it wasn't drugs. For me, it was anger. I needed anger management. I got anger management course. I did that. I made a lot of improvements to my attitude through courses that the council offered. I was also the fault to my domestic violence situation. But the thing is, I'm not going to hide that fact. I live with the fact, and every day I make sure that I do not become that person I was back then. So I am proud of this. If you're listening to this and you've been in a domestic violence situation, I know you're a complete stranger to me, but I am proud of you for making this step and watching my video. Thank you. You as a human being deserve more than what you got. You deserve much more than what you did get. And I will try and make some more videos of my experiences, which is ultimately what I wanted to do with social media. But I used to get a lot of backlash from family, from friends, because I used to advertise stuff freely on my networking sites. No more. And what I do add will not necessarily be my experience. It may be someone else's experience, like this particular case. So I am now going to start advertising domestic violence on my social media sites, and I'm going to be proud of it. And I want you to be proud as a person for watching this video, for stepping up, and for making that first step to making your life better. If I can help you in any way possible, please message me. You've got my networking sites. I'll link them all below. You've got the comment field down below. Don't hesitate to contact me and ask me questions. There's no question that I cannot answer. And if I cannot answer it, I will try and find the answer out for you. These particular instances will be for Australian residents, but I can always refer you back to your local police enforcements or your paramedics or your firemen or whatever the case may be if I don't have an answer for you on an international level. I love you dearly. I want you to know that. Yes, you are a complete stranger, but I do. I love you dearly. I love the fact that you've made the first step for a new life. So give yourself a big pat on the back, darling. You deserve it. I'm very proud of you. And let's just take it from there. So take care, guys. Please share this video with your friends and family. I think domestic violence is very important. Please like my video if you want to see more of them. Don't be afraid to subscribe to my channel and even hit the notification bell. So until then, my dear colleagues in YouTube world, just remember, keep safe, keep well, and I'll be back for more a bit later on. Until then, it's bye for now.